So here we have our website. This is a demo website. It is online, www.tutordemo.11plusdiy.co.uk. We use this for demonstration and as tutors. If you wish for us to give you some usernames and passwords to play around with this, please do contact us. The phone number and contact information will be at the end of this presentation, and we'll allow you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in as a tutor. So the 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 website runs in two modes, I just mentioned, either as you as a tutor or as a student mode. You obviously set it up for your students. So I'm going to just log in as a tutor. I can remember the username. So this is all you need. All you need is a browser. It works on many browsers. What I'm going to do, I'm going to log in as a tutor using Internet Explorer 8, I think this one is, and then later on I'm going to log in using Google Chrome as a student, just to show you that you can log in with different many browsers that you may have out there. So we've logged in as a tutor, and really you get your own unique login with your own unique password, and it's logged in. I've just called this tutor just to make it easy. Looking at the options you've got here, you've got the users tab, and this is where you create your tutors, your students. Sorry, you wouldn't be creating tutors; you are the tutor. And I've just created a couple of tutors here. So we've got a student one. Demo tutor one, actually that is yours. You can't edit that one. We've got another student here called B Willis Bruce, and you can edit that. You can change their usernames, you can change their passwords, you can add new students. So you don't need to set up all your students at once. As they come along on board, you can subscribe to them. Then you can delete a student when a student leaves. You can add another student back in. You can obviously deauthorize a student for some reason if you're selling this additional product, and or you feel that they may be misusing your website. You can obviously deauthorize them and obviously have a word with them before that. So really, this is how you would administrate your students. It's pretty easy. I mean, just a quick click on add new user. I won't add one. Well, I might do actually. So let's just quickly add one in there. I'm going to call this student 2 for the username. First name Bob, surname Smith, display name Bob Smith. What we don't allow is we don't allow students to log in and to create their own accounts. Purely, we just don't want anybody on the web out there just filling your system up. So let's just Bob Smith at bsmith.com. I'm just giving a fictitious email address, and you give them a password. This would be the default password that you would give the students. They can change their password straight after that, really. To change your password, user already exists, correct. I've already got a student 1 there, so let's just add a new one called student 2. And there we've got student 2 there, Bob Smith. So I've got now 3 students on my system. There's really, it's how many you want, and we can discuss how many students you would like to be limited to. Running through some of the other pages there, we've got the contact us, which we always give for you in case your students need to make contact to you. Test results. I will come back into this more detail. It's not the best graph here, but for the results, and not that the graph's not very good, the graph's very good, but really it's the bars there showing you the time, the line showing you the time, i.e. the last test I did on this student account took 23 minutes, and the test ID they received 80%. I could see that verbal reasoning out of, they got 12 out of 15 verbal reasoning questions right, 4 out of 4 non-verbaling right, 4 out of 6 English, and 4 out of 5. And obviously, if they were getting 0 out of 6 English right, you can concentrate on the English questions there. The test questions tab. When you create a test, you can actually see the test here yourself. You can print it off. You can if you wanted, you could attempt the test and submit the test. Most tutors just leave as is, as it is, and they can just look at the questions. The Create View Student Test, really this is the page that you use the most, and this is where you really set the e-homework for the children. Bit of a background here, the site can be set in two modes. The first mode is where you actually just give the student an account and they create the test as they wish. So they could go home and create 100 tests on various subjects combined, VR, non-VR, VR, English, Maths, vocabulary. The advantage of that is that you don't need to set the homework, and the child can just go home and practice once, twice, 100 times at home. There's no limit on how many tests they can do themselves. The disadvantage of that is really it's a bit uncontrolled. You don't really know what test the children are doing, and potentially you could have your child coming back with 100 test results the day after and asking you to go through every single one with them. What generally we find tutors like to do is what they call the controlled e-homework mode, where the students aren't allowed to create their own test. You create the test on behalf of the student. Now you can create it for, I've got 3 students here, you can create the test for all students, and all students receive exactly the same test, exactly the same questions, they're exact. Or you can say, well actually I only want to give my student student 1 a test. For some reason you may feel that student Stu, as I've called him here, needs some additional exams to do. He's struggling maybe a bit on English or mathematics, say for instance, and you want to set student 1 some additional English exams, but you don't really want to give that to the whole class. You just want to kind of give them. So really you can do, let's just do a combined test here, and I want all my students to have this test. And I'm going to call this Tuesday 5th Jan homework. So I'll just put home. You can give whatever description you wanted to really. I think you'd probably come up with your own methods. The most common we see is things like 5th of Jan homework or Tuesday homework. And you can obviously set these in advance. And I'm going to create the test here. Now, there is a review student test here, and I can click on each of my students and I can see what test they've done. Bob Smith's not done any yet, which is correct, we only just set him up. Student 1, student Stu. Well, I see he's already got 3 tests submitted. The new test you created is not there. That's because that test has not been submitted by student Stu just yet. You can't actually see what's happening while the student's doing the test. It's a bit like peering over his shoulder, which obviously makes him uncomfortable. So, let him make his mistakes. Let him go back. Let him come back and correct his mistakes before he submits it. To see actually what questions were created, if you go to the Test Questions tab. Now, remember we called that Tuesday, 5th of January homework, and there it is. It's very much kind of what you'd expect of a website, that kind of webmail, I suppose. We're all used to kind of webmail, email these days, and as remember, we are logged in as the tutor here. So let's just have a look at the questions, and the best way is just really to look at the attempt test, a bit of a best of look, how to submit, how to say return, etc. So these are the kind of questions as a tutor I'm seeing. These are the questions. There's 30 questions. It does appear that you're trying to do the test yourself. You obviously don't need to worry about that, because all you really after is looking at the exam itself and the questions. Okay, so let's just save and return that for a moment. And I think what I'll need to do really now is just log on as a student to see the experience the student gets, and then we'll see how as a tutor you get to view them test results. So what I'm going to do now, I've actually switched browsers, if anybody's noticed. I'm not using Internet Explorer now, I'm going to use Google Chrome. It doesn't matter, but just to show you that we do work on many browsers out there. So what I'm going to do now, I'm going to log in as my student account, and the one I created was student, the username was student1, his name was student Stu. Log on. Again, please do contact us if you want any of these login details, or you want us to set up a test account for you, and we'll set it up for you and let you have a play by yourselves. I think really sometimes that's the best way, if you have a little experiment yourself, rather than me trying to talk everything through to you. To talk you through everything, you just have a little play and see whether it fits what you want. I mean, the first thing to notice really, as I'm logged in as student 1, is that I have less options. Obviously, I can't create users, I can't create the tests, or I can't view the other students' results. It's purely, you know, the students there to do a test, and that's it. It is all secure. If you notice, when the student account's created, we don't ask for really any personal information. That you know, address, etc. You could actually give the student a fake name. Really, we don't really believe that we should be holding the students' addresses. So, you know, we hear all these scare stories about student details, etc., being made available. Well, at least you can rest assured we're not even capturing that information, so they could never get out there. Okay, so the first thing really a student would do, and you'd be asking a student to go and do their homework. Really, you've in my example here, I've set up some homework, and if you remember, we called it Tuesday, 5th of January homework, and we wanted all our students to do that. Just for reference, really, these were some other tests that I'd created beforehand for students to. But here we are, Saturday, we created that today, and we've called it Saturday 5th of January homework. Obviously my dates are a bit out here, but that's me. So we've called it Tuesday 5th of January homework. And as students do, we expect him to do the test. He can delete the test. You would obviously know whether that test has been deleted. He could attempt a test and submit a test. These are previously submitted tests down here at the bottom. Now, what is a submit test? Really, what we ask is the student to when they attempt a test, let me just run through that very quickly, is they start the test, and now all the children have the same questions here on this one, is that they start the test and something happens, they need to go have their lunch, they need to go have the dinner, etc. The clock's still ticking, but really, I suppose it's unfair really to make them stay there. They've got to go somewhere. So what we can do, we can ask the child to save and return. So we just save the test at this moment in time. And we go back. So the test now, the status here, the status column now shows that as in progress. Previously, the test would have been as a status in new. And when the child has submitted the test, it drops from this grid here and falls into the bottom grid as submitted. So this is work in progress or new test, and this is work the student's already done. So right, let me attempt the test. So we go through it all. I'm not going to go through every single question here that we've got 30 questions here, so I'll do a bit of a cheat. I'll quickly run through it and I'll fill the questions in. But if you can read this question, in the following question, find one letter that will complete the word in both front of the brackets and begin the word at the end of the brackets. The same letter must fit both sets of the brackets.